has hand grips and it has like bicycle brakes. I don't, yeah, I would rather have something different because like I said, that my hands I don't do the fine dexterity, as you can see, just a little bit from the use, you know.
Yeah.
Mine, I drop things and I don't have the full control. So that brake isn't necessarily, I can't apply the same pressure on
Right,
that.
so it doesn't stop.
Right, whereas if it was just a button built in or something, it would be a whole lot better.
I couldn't help but think as you were talking, you mentioned that some seats are not good for you.
Right.
What if you used memory foam?
Yeah, we
It's
were
nice,
also
that's
thinking
what my bed
about that,
has.
too.
I have one of the better quality mattresses because the memory foam helps and doesn't cause the pressure points, whereas the plastic, hard plastic, and that's what they make them out of, the seats, they're really uncomfortable.
And as far as the walker,
Just in
That'd be
our
Bring
seat.
your one that has a problem with it, but I can tell you what the problem is with it.
So you would like it to be taller, so your back, you aren't slouching.
Right.
Okay, so what we're thinking is just make it taller than what they are, because they usually have the pins like the crutches.
Yes, they do.
Yeah, make it taller than it already is, and
Do
you can
you
adjust
know,
it.
did you know off the top of your head how many pins your walker has?
I think it has 4 or 5.
4 or 5.
But I was thinking rather than a waist-high one, which is what most of them are, was more of a 3/4, you know, so it's like this, like your windshield almost, rather than, it's a thought.
Interesting.
It'd be longer, but it's not much longer than a set of crutches when you put them in the back. Because those go up under your arms, and those fit in the back of most vehicles. So that would be about the size.
sometimes finding a place to put them if I'm in a public place. For
Like a restaurant.
Yeah, that's a very good place. That's a very good, or if I have to sit down and it's a very crowded place, like maybe a store, Walmart, or something like that.
So like put them like an area where you can just set them down. Or
Yeah.
Yeah, we were talking about that too. Like in a restaurant where it's like crowded, everybody just moving around. When you walk in, you can put a set place to set them if they have like an area.
Yes.
Is the same thing with your walker, like if you're in a crowded place, or is that just like?
No, it's always inconvenient where you put it. Yep, somebody's always wanting to be where you're putting your walker.
I would describe a perfect pair of clutches. Like I said today, they make them out of flimsy parts. I'll make them out of good solid parts because people depend on them. I think the ones that are built today are meant for people temporarily
Right.
that use them, that may be in an accident, maybe out of work for maybe a month or two or whatever, but are using them temporarily. They still have a lot of their own natural ability and can still get around, and they just need a little bit of help from the clutches they get from them. But people who actually really depend on these things, number one, make sure it's made out of good, solid, heavy-duty material, not flimsy plastics.
Like he
Can you
said,
write
he
that
wants
down?
the
This
plastic coated
is steel. It's plastic. It's covered with plastic for comfort, but it's metal. It's not plastic.
And
It's
even
metal.
though this looks hard, it does have some cushion to it.
Yes.
You know, you still have a good grip because it has some give, so, you know, you've got it, but it's sturdy. It's not so soft. You don't want the fluffy, soft ones because those can twist and wear out, whereas this has some give to it and it can allow you to change the tension on it
Yes.
without hurting your hands. Like the bigger feet or the
Yeah.
flexible.
Yeah. And to make if you had to fold them up, if the bigger base could turn up, and maybe it had a switch or something, or a pin or something that would lock it in place when you're using it. But when you're not using it, just to save space, it could fold up on the base
I
and the
think as
handle.
long as it wasn't any bigger than your hand brace.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
isn't gonna take up any more room.
Yeah. If you needed to, just you know, again, just to save space, this could either, say, pull out and go down, or pull out and go up.
Oh,
Just
it's like a little,
like
yeah,
that.
that,
I guess for me, I like the fact that it stays in one place, there's less parts to ever break.
Oh, yeah, yeah, that
And
has
these
its,
don't take up
that
a
that
lot
has
of
its,
space.
that's a give and take. But typically, I don't see this getting in the way as much. Typically, it's the long part that gets in the way.
right.
The wider base, to be honest, I've only seen those on television, those hurricanes.
Oh, yeah.
I've never used one though. But it's just a thought, those hurricanes have the reputation of being very sturdy and very solid. But if we had something like that on the base of this, so the base could, and really grip really well,
Yeah.
and then stay in place, where a person could put their weight on it, a lot of their weight, and swing through and stay in place at the same time. It'd be a great benefit. But number one, make sure it's done with very good materials. And another thing, before I forget to mention it, when they make these now, this is an old-fashioned type. When they make these now, there's only one screw that goes through here, and the new ones, it's just barely holding onto this piece right here. Okay, this screw is too short. Now, this is a good one, this is an old-fashioned type. But the new ones, this screw that goes in here, right here, is too short, and it's just sticking into this metal pipe about that much.
It's barely in
It's barely in there. And when you,
His whole weight needs to be on